I just recorded this video with my mic muted. We're back. Pokemon Presents is in the books. Version 1 of this video is in the books, but it's just me going. So I'm back to talk about the Pokemon Presents, people's reactions to it, which I found to be surprisingly negative, and the weird position I think this puts Nintendo fans in, and the way that they present the Pokemon Presents, just making it a very murky situation. And I want to hear your thoughts. Before you get crazy thinking I'm going to be super negative, remember that a lot of people criticize me for being super positive. So this is going to kind of be a video where I'm feeling both ways about what went down today. In the future, especially given we're in a scenario where Nintendo has Xenoblade Chronicles X, and they got nothing else dated. Oh, by the way, they did not date Pokemon Champions or Pokemon Legends ZA, but we did get a great look at the latter, and they're doing something phenomenal with that game. Right off the bat, I want to tell you, I think the battle system is the coolest thing Pokemon Company has done in years. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Hope you're all doing fantastic out there. Hope your day gets even 1% better by this video, and if it does, you're doing great. If you can build your day a little bit better, boom, you can end on a really good note, which I think is so important, and is my little tool tip for the day. Consider me the paperclip from Windows, except with blonder hair. But anyhow, Pokemon Presents in the books, I found it boring. Like I said, I love the combat in ZA, but the way that they choose to highlight their games and the way that they choose to run these presentations, I think is so antiquated and does the games a huge disservice. That's why I saw many people not really emphasizing the combat switch up. Pokemon Legends ZA is the first time as a trainer you can control your Pokemon in real time, swap them out in real time, have to rely on movement, dodging, and the AoE of attacks, the distance of attacks, swapping up Pokemon at a specific time to benefit and gain advantage in a battle. This is groundbreaking, shattering, brand new, and the trailer kind of glosses over it in such a way that many people forgot that Pokemon Legends Arceus was actually a turn-based game. Yeah, Legends Arceus was open, you could go and throw the Pokeball, but once it got to battle, it was the same old, same old. Legends ZA is flipping the script in a huge way, but these Pokemon videos feel like they're, at the same time, appealing to people who've never played a Pokemon, while also reminding you that this is exactly the same Pokemon you've always been playing. It's like they're stuck in this loop of being somebody's first Pokemon, but also everybody's next Pokemon, and they don't really dive in a modern or innovative way to why this game is exciting. Why is Pokemon Legends ZA exciting? Well, according to Pokemon Company, there's starters. There's 2 playable characters. There's an old man named Az who runs Hotel Z. They just don't do a good job of incentivizing why I should be excited and why I should pre-order this game. The battle system should have been front and foremost. Like, I could edit a better trailer where it's like jazzing up the battle sequences and showing that you're actually moving around and controlling these Pokemon in real time in a way that is so much more reflective of the Pokemon cartoon we watched as kids than anything they've done before, outside of like Pokken Tournament where you had direct control, but it wasn't like a trainer with Pokemon. You were just like straight up the Pokemon. This is huge. This is huge, and it's kind of just glazed over by these hollow-eyed individuals who sit there staring into the camera soullessly, telling you that next up, we've got another announcement. Like, I just don't know how they think this is a good way to present this. And while there are plenty of fans that are going to eat this up, plenty of fans that are so excited to just hand over their money because there's starters, and there's characters, and there's a city, and there's mega evolutions, it's not really doing anything in a modern way to be appealing, attractive, or interesting. And I think that's where a lot of the negative feedback comes from today's Pokemon Presents, because all in all, they got through the boring stuff quite quickly. The updates to mobile games, they zoomed through, and then they introduced Pokemon Champions and showed off Pokemon Legends ZA in a real big way for the first real time. But they didn't give us a release date. Late 2025 is all they could muster up, and that feels like a letdown as well. We've been waiting a while for this game. We're waiting a while for any Nintendo game. They've got the April 2nd Direct, and this tells me that Pokemon Legends ZA is probably going to factor into that, because no date, no month, just late 2025, which implies this is going to be a cross-gen game. This is going to be a Switch 2 game, and I think that's confusing and murky as well, because it's like the game doesn't look all that exciting visually. They're borrowing more from the Scarlet and Violet style than from the Legends Arceus style, so it's not as unique. Will it gain a big performance boost on Switch 2? Will it be any different on Switch 2? We know Scarlet and Violet sucked when it came to performance, Can they make that better on Switch 1 or just on Switch 2? Is there going to be a major incentive to buy this game on Switch 2? Like, it's great that Pokemon is going to have a big release the first holiday season of a new console. And oh, by the way, they can also sell to 150 million players on Switch 1. That's really good business-wise. It just feels like so much that the Pokemon Company does is for the business sense. Like, I know it's easy to play armchair developer, but I try to think of the coolest things that the Pokemon Company can do, and they're like, all right, bet, we're going to do 1/10 of that. There's no Classic Collection. There's no Nintendo Switch Online update. They don't emphasize or highlight the exciting parts of these games, and they kind of don't really show a ton of them at all. Like, we've got these gated wild areas that by all accounts seem way smaller than the wide open wild areas of Pokemon Legends Arceus. So are we stepping back in terms of scope? Is the city actually monstrous? They just chose not to show it off? Is this new battle system going to be a step forward, but then the scope of where we can use it going to be a step back? Feels like the Pokemon Company just kind of operates very robotically. What can they do to achieve path of least resistance to make the most money? And that's where Pokemon Champions comes in, which I find frankly non-interesting. I know people who like competitive Pokemon feel that this is a cool new way to make more players and grant more accessibility and give people a global way to simultaneously play on your phone and your Switch. But to me, it feels like they just ripped out a piece of a Pokemon game and are going to monetize it with a limited roster and sell it to you. So you can play it on your phone in the same way that Pokemon Pocket has made money hand over fist and Pokemon Go has made money hand over fist. Inevitably, Pokemon Champions will make money hand over fist. Is it really doing anything new? It doesn't look like it. Is it really offering a new visual perspective? It doesn't look like it. It's more Pokemon, and that makes them a ton more money, and it feels like that's all they care about. Like, I wish Nintendo could just loan TPC the Mario Wonder team to pizzazz up, jazz up, revamp the franchise, and give it some energy. I feel like Legends EA was being touted as this new model for Pokemon, this new humongous step, and it might be. At least from a battle standpoint, it looks to be a quantum leap. It's doing something brand new for the first time, but they aren't really showing it off in a way that shows that even they get that. Like, why wasn't this trailer done in a way to emphasize the movement, the speed, the real-time nature, and carry that over into the way the trailer was presented? Instead, it was just like a traditional Pokemon trailer. Here's the 3 starters. Here's the bad guy, but they don't look like a bad guy, but they're going to be a bad guy. Here's the building. And here's a 2025 release date with no specific month or date. I just don't like how they're doing things, and I think it's especially becoming spotlighted given that Nintendo hasn't really done much lately anyways. We know that they're going to have a big Switch 2 Direct, but other than that, it's nothing. No brand new Switch game on the horizon with a date. None. Not one new Nintendo game with a date. Xenoblade Chronicles X is cool, but it is a port/remaster. They didn't even give us remasters of like Black and White. We've been waiting for sort of some redux of that series for a long time. Nada. Nothing. They're very calculated. They operate in a way to milk the most out of you and I. And so it's strange to me when people soak it up, but then it's also strange to me when people are very negative, because that's not what I typically get from the Pokemon audience. Usually they're very gung-ho. I don't know why Pokemon feels like it's in a weird place, but it sure makes sense after today. You look at how they're not evolving. Like, they will move their gameplay forward in some ways, but as a good friend of mine said, it's always 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Scarlet and Violet goes massive open world, and that's really cool. The gyms can be accomplished in any order, but the performance is absolutely terrible. Legends EA is introducing a new battle system that it will revolutionize the way you experience Pokemon and could be the coolest thing they've ever done, yet the trailer seems like it's a scaled down scope with a more generic art style than the last game. Bring in the question and concern over which console this is actually releasing on, how it will be affected by a more powerful system, if it'll be affected at all, when it's releasing, and what Nintendo is doing overall, and I feel like we just kind of have like a response to this. It's okay if you liked it. It's okay if you loved it. Maybe you were able to more aptly notice the new features and the nuances that will make Legends EA spectacular. By all accounts, the game could be spectacular. I just think the way they go about showcasing it and highlighting it is bad. And I think they don't really care as much as they claim to care. The passion does not feel like it's on display. The desire for money and min-maxing to achieve that money, that feels like what's on display. And for a franchise and a game that built out of childhood wonder and fun, I wonder if it was just a product of the time. I was introduced to Pokemon when I was 7 and 8 years old, and that was just like a crazy time in my life. It feels like the magic is kind of missing. And maybe it's there under the surface. Maybe they just don't know how to show it and convey it because they become so concerned as a mega corporation making mega millions and selling to mega millions of fans. They know it's easy, they know they've got us, and they don't have to put in much effort. That's how it feels to me, but let me know how it feels to you. I think Legends ZA will be cool later this year. I'm glad it's coming out and didn't get delayed, at least not overtly. Maybe it was supposed to originally come out in the summer and now it's delayed till the fall. We'd never know. But gosh, give us a date. Nintendo, give us some more and try to have a more excited way of announcing these things, or at least present it in a way that seems like you're emphasizing your main new features. The fact that there's videos out there with people not talking about the battle system shows that they did a bad job. It's easy to forget that Legends Arceus was turn-based and Legends ZA is real-time. Crazy innovation, crazy new, yet it feels like the exact same game and maybe even reduced. What the heck? How did they manage that? Let me know what you think, and until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.